The next stage for this exercise is to take a second color, to take a medium color and do the same thing with two colors. This is what I've done here. There is white, there is gray, and there is black. Three colors or two colors plus white. And again, you continue doing it until you stop being confused, until you look at the scene and know what to leave out and what to keep, and keep doing it until you're comfortable. Thing is, if you want to become good at anything, you have to be okay with the process that is called a grind. You have to turn the grind into some kind of meditative exercise. You have to enjoy the process of getting there, whatever you're doing. There are no fast track processes that can lead you to good results in anything you do, in anything where you're trying to achieve something greater. So keep grinding and find a way to enjoy it. I'll quickly explain to you what I'm doing when I use two colors, so you understand the process. But before we start, let's take a look at a sketch that one of the patrons sent me. Thank you, Cecilia, for sending me your sketches so we can review a real life example of the exercise that we did last time. These are really great sketches. This one especially, I think, succeeded in the task, even though there are already kind of a two-tone thing going on here already, but I can see some kind of pattern and movements that is nice and cohesive. The only thing I would do, I would cover this little white bit here and maybe added some texture on this. So you end up having a much clearer path of light in your painting. Maybe add a few tiny ones on the background. So you'll end up having a very beautiful path of light that I will follow. It's better when the lightest light and the darkest dark is not near the edges. It happens and it's alright to have it, but these are pretty big chunks. So they should be whether smaller or be mid-tone altogether. Then this is a really great sketch. The only thing I would do is to remove that stick that goes straight into his head. I'm not sure if you need that stick altogether, but I think it would help if you move it here. It went from here to his shoulder. This way you don't need this white light here. This structure will highlight his shoulder, or if you make it a little bit thicker and put it behind his ear and the shoulder and do it here, that will be enough indication of the shape. Try that out. And then for this one, this and this are a little similar, and I see that where architecture starts with a lot of elements, there is a little bit of a confusion going on. I did a version of this sketch for you. I will explain what I've done. Here we go. I cleaned up some of the details. I noticed there is a tree and I understand it's in the foreground. What I would do, I would bring it in or remove completely. I like to have things on the foreground to add depth into the picture, so I chose to bring it forward a little bit. It overlaps with the building. In here, it just kind of hangs in the corner without connecting to anything except for the wires, which are also a little bit random, and I understand that was probably what it was in the live situation, but I feel like you could redesign it a little bit, and that's what I did. I removed the black roof because even if the object is dark, it doesn't mean that you have to make it dark in your painting. The very common mistake is to assume that the local color and the local tone is the only possible reality. You can definitely redesign it. It was easier for me because I don't know what's going on there. You can learn to do that too when you look at things. So I removed the shadow from the roof and only indicated the shade that is an actual shadow of the building instead. So I kept all of that. This side is very nice. There is some fence going on, and that's all also nice. It's just removing this little part that helps to pull the viewer away from the edge and create a nice contrast here on one side of the picture. And then I continued as it was with the tree, removing a little bit of the random whites from here and from here as well on the opposite sides, because it's a tiny bit distracting for me. When you paint, you can still have some kind of light going on this side. That's okay, but it should be small. Your biggest story is going on alongside these buildings and alongside this side of the street, and that's what we're doing, highlighting the edges of the building. So I did the same with this building on the back and added just a few tiny details. You know, there might be a bird on the roof, there might be an antenna, there's always something sticking out, you know, nobody will go and check for you. So I added just a few tiny details on the top to indicate that that's the tip of the roof in here. What I also tried to do, I tried to redesign the wires to follow the perspective of the picture, which is directed this way. Alternatively, what we could do is to whether leave it like that on this side, or I would do it on this side. For example, like, but it should direct the viewer's attention to this spot here. So that's my version of it. You can take it or leave it, it's your choice. I thought I would just give you another option. First, with a gray color, which I have in this pen. It's not the original ink that I have here, although it still carries the tag of gray, so I don't forget. I diluted the black fountain pen ink and I loaded it back into this pen. So what I do, I block out everything except for the light with gray first, only leaving the light. I draw a whole shape and just block it out. At this stage, you're already designing your painting, you already designed the patterns of light and shadow. And then I take the black and start blocking out the darks. Most of these darks will be close to the light, the white. So I'm not going to cover every shadow that I see. I'm only going to cover the areas that are closest to the area of my focus. You see, there are no lines here. There are shadows, there are patterns, and you can see the thing designed in the little thumbnail. Let me show you the same process with something that we already worked with. With the warehouses, I would be doing exactly the same. I would be blocking out the lights first, completely covering any other area. And your lights can be the actual lights that are created by the sun, or your lights can be the white color that you have in the view that you. And then I take the black and I go through the same process, showing only what's important to my story, carving out slowly the shapes that will help me to tell that story, eliminating the details that will not help. Concentrating my darks only around the whites that I already have carved out, and leaving things out on the edges, free of details. Very soon as you do these exercises, you start noticing shapes over tiny little details. You'll start noticing patterns over separate details, and that will help you to create much more cohesive and meaningful paintings. Then we start adding details where it's important. And very important is usually the reason why you started painting. Something attracted you in the scene that made you want to draw it. That's where you put the emphasis here. That's where you put your contrast. That's where you put your details. There you have it. These are the exercises that I do when I lose the track of values in my head. I fall right back into first one-tone exercises and then two-tone exercises. And after I've done that for a week or two, usually my paintings become much more cohesive, much faster, showing better what I'm trying to say with the painting. I hope it was helpful. I'll see you next time.